Every year, my city has a Christmas market, and every year in this market, there's a stall that sells minifigures. But these are fake figures. It's obvious for somebody in the know, but most people aren't. I used to hate the stall's existence. I thought they were scamming people who didn't know any better, and it would take all of my willpower to not tell every child and every parent I see at this stall that they were fake and not to bother. But I never did, because all that would accomplish is ruining pretty much everyone's day bootlicking for $1 billion corporation. Either way, this year the curiosity got the better of me, so I went and had a proper look at their selection before buying 3 specific figures to have a closer look at. One is one that LEGO have made, one is a figure LEGO could have made, and one is a figure LEGO definitely have not made. But before I do that, I want to shout them out a little, because these guys genuinely impressed me in a few ways. Firstly, they don't just do knockoffs of official figures, they do custom molds, designs, and everything. In fact, the majority of figures here were totally unique and actually really cool looking, including these Sonic characters, some anime stuff, Five Nights at Freddy's, and even Among Us. And you can get any 3 for just €10 too, so they're not exactly bankrupting you either. They do have some photoshopped CMF posters, which is a bit misleading, and the figures themselves definitely infringe on a patent or something. With all that said, let's have a look at these figures, starting with one that LEGO definitely haven't made. So this is Luigi. So immediately the face print looks a bit goofy and squished. LEGO do have a Luigi figure, but it's the big Mario playset one with the screen in the middle and stuff. They haven't made a proper minifigure for the Mario theme yet, but if they do, I don't think they do the face like this. I think they'd most likely make a custom molded headpiece for each character, because the head shape is so distinct, and the features like the huge nose, eyes and mustache just don't translate well to being printed on a minifigure head. But to give them some credit, the hat piece isn't just a regular hat piece. They actually molded and printed his sideburns and mullet sticking out each side of the hat, which, you know, fair play actually. His torso print looks pretty passable and is actually printed with more opacity than I think LEGO would do. He has some boot printing, which is great, but it also has some printing on the back of the legs too, which is strange. I'd have expected it on the side if they were going to add printing anywhere else. And he has an alternate face print, which was really surprising, and it looks a lot better than the regular one because the mouth is more prominent. Unfortunately, this is where the LEGO difference is felt. The joints are just not as high quality as LEGO. His head is so incredibly tight that it just can't turn around at all, which would be really bad on its own, but then you have the legs, which are both different levels of tightness, with the left one feeling fine, and the right one just being way too loose. The head and legs really ruin the figure in terms of how it feels. Next, I have a figure that LEGO could have made, and that's the Christmas Boba Fett. I had to Google it because it looks like something LEGO would do, but it turns out I was just thinking of this Christmas Vader and this Jango Fett. The red jacket on top of Boba's armor isn't that bad, and the Christmas hat on top of the slightly less angry clone face is actually pretty believable. It also has an excessive amount of printing. He has arm, back, and side leg printing, as well as some ass crack printing, which is really confusing, but it's there, I guess. Unfortunately, those quality control issues are really evident here. The printing on the torso is way thinner than I think it should be, while the leg printing is way thicker than I think it should be. His jetpack piece has this plastic flap from the cutout still attached, and it's just sticking off the front like a collar or something. The bottom of the jetpack piece looks like they just ripped it off and took some of the base with it too. His hat doesn't look that great at all. The white is pretty badly misprinted, and there's this unmistakable plastic flap from the cheap manufacturing around the front. Also, it doesn't seem like you can take the hat off at all. If you can, then it's really stuck on there, so I can't check for a second face print here. Meanwhile, the legs just slide off with almost no resistance whatsoever. Cool design, but not very well executed, with a lot of glaring quality problems. And the last figure I'll look at is one that LEGO actually have made, with the Grand Inquisitor. The first thing I immediately noticed, and I'm just going to go out and say it, the face print is way better on the knockoff version. Those eyes look so much more menacing, the expression is better, the forehead is more detailed, the cheekbones are more prominent, and even the mouth is just more appropriate. I genuinely much prefer the knockoff face print here, and it's not even close. The chest plate pieces are pretty similar actually. The official one has these grooves on it for more texture, but the knockoff one has much more detailed printing and is honestly almost just as good. Maybe you prefer the neck thing being longer with a more detailed chest thing. The torso prints are super similar actually. I think the belt is printed a bit better on the official, so that gives it the win for me here. Although, again, the crest thing is way more detailed on the knockoff. The knockoff actually has arm printing too, which the official doesn't. I think it works really well for the figure and is pretty well applied. And finally, the leg printing. I like how the knockoff extends all the way up into the torso belt, but other than that, I'd be lying if I said the official wasn't better just all around. The lines just look way better, the bottom is more rounded, which I think looks way nicer, and it even has a metallic finish on the black parts. The knockoff looks rushed with these perfectly straight lines, and it kind of looks like somebody tried to print it from memory. Not bad, but definitely not as good. Quality issues aside, I think the knockoff figure looks way better overall. The metallic printing on the official model's legs and torso are great, sure, but the crest detail, arm printing, and head design in general on the knockoff just blows it out of the water, to be honest. Overall, I think the thing that really surprised me was how much good quality printing and custom molds these guys can accomplish for so cheap. I think the main thing that the LEGO Premium gets you over these is quality, and I know that's peddled all the time, but you really do feel it. LEGO's tolerances for their pieces and everything really make a huge difference. I just wish that they'd put as much effort into making their print quality better, and they weren't so reluctant to give us new molds. I hope this was interesting to some degree. Thanks for watching. Farewell.